of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. We're having a meeting. Okay, all right. Okay, so the next order of business is an invocation. Is there anyone here who would like to give an invocation? Okay. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Is that all right? Is that better? Yes, yes, we all have microphones. Can you, okay? They should all have the same volume control on their microphone, or it's one control, so it should be the same.
Testing. Dave, can you?
Okay.
Testing. Hello, can you hear that?
Okay, before we get started, I wanna say a few things. Okay. First off, I want to thank everybody for being here. I really, and the board, everybody in the city here appreciates public comment and input on everything that we do. But before we get started, I wanted to give you an update on the proposed development at the Bryan and Pisey site. It says over the past month, the board and the developer have been listening to the comments that you guys have all had, and we have been making improvements and changes in respect to your comments. It is the wish of this board for the developer to be responsive to these concerns and make changes that can address issues raised by the residents and present a revised plan to the board for our consideration. At this point, the developer is still looking at ways to address the concerns while still making this a viable development. Currently, there has been no changes presented, but in discussions, I'll tell you, things like the car wash is gone. They're rearranging things to make things more accommodating to the residents of Garden Prairie. Okay, so therefore I asked the board again to postpone, because we don't have anything new. We asked the board to postpone the public hearing, okay, again, until a new plan is developed or presented. And then when a new plan is developed, I will direct the city staff to post these plans on the website, on various social media platforms, wherever we can, get it out. If people want to leave email addresses to Kim or drop them off at the front desk, we will send them out directly to you. Then once it's a new plan or a reformed plan, revised plan is presented, I will ask the developer to join us in a town hall discussion, which will be organized, promoted by the city, and allow for a presentation of the revised plan, outlining the changes that were made, as well as the opportunity for feedback from the residents and revisions, get comments and feedback with the revisions as a whole. After the meeting, and upon further input from the citizens regarding the updated proposal, the board will determine whether further changes could or should be made to address any remaining concerns, or simply vote on the plan as amended. You're here tonight to speak to the board about the proposal. I welcome your input. But as always, again, I ask to be respectful of your time because of the amount of people that we have that wish to talk. And whether you believe it or not, I read all of your emails and I understand that where people are on this, and most of the emails, most of them, not all of them. There's a fair amount that don't have a problem with this plan. No. We'll talk during the. No, this is not a question and answer session, okay? So, I mean, I would like to remind you that this is a business meeting, and we make time for public comments, but it's not a question and answer session. Okay? No, this meeting is not a question and answer. When we have a town hall meeting, then we will get into questions and answers. At your comments, we will log them and then later post answers to
I
them.
can answer my 12 questions. They won't answer.
You can ask your 12 questions, but this is not the point. This is not the meeting where we will answer questions. Sir, we are in a dialogue now. I'm asking you to stop. I'm asking you to stop. Okay? I'm asking you to please stop. This is not
Yes.
the place. This is not the place or time for this type of dialogue. Okay?
We have 12 questions. Let's go ahead. What's next?
If this meeting gets out of control, we will have people removed. Okay? I mean,
Assume that to the sir, if it's out of control, I order the and the pace breakers. Pace. Oh, it's gonna be fun.
if you have questions, I ask you to submit them to us in writing, and we will get back to you with answers. Okay? This is not the place that,
I am.
okay,
Okay, I want to clarify, John. I don't know anything about what you just read. So you're saying the board has decided this, the board is going to do this. I have no idea about this town hall. I don't know anything about what you've just said, the changes being submitted. I've not heard one thing about a change being made.
we don't have any changes yet. When they're presented, we will have a town hall.
You're telling me there's not a car wash anymore. You're telling me
That's
there-
in
there's things
discussion.
around.
That is
So
in
I'm not
discussion.
aware of those things, and I want people to know I'm not aware of those things.
Yeah, I think it's probably what
Please,
the,
please, please. Please,
probably what the point of contention here is it was presented as a statement from the board, and I don't think any.
it's not a statement from the board. Good idea.
As of tonight, there are no changes that have been submitted to this
Understand.
plan. Okay? There's nothing been other than just conversation
With who? Not with me. Okay,
with the developer,
okay.
okay?
The developer who?
In the city, myself, James, a couple others from the city.
Okay,
Tom, okay? When a new plan is developed, it will be submitted, just like any other plan. We're not here to make any decisions tonight. okay?
I
We're here
understand that.
to hear public comments, you know. And then we're gonna move forward
I'm-
with a,
All I'm saying, John, you made a statement from the board that's not from the board.
so I say it's a wish of the board for the developer to be responsive to the concerns and make changes that can address the issues raised by the residents. That's not of the board? That's not what you want?
I think you, before you attribute something to the board, you probably should ask.
Oh, okay. All right, let's move on. Consent agenda. Any items on the consent agenda to be removed?
Roll call.
Oh, roll call vote, sorry.
Mayor Gatway,
Here,
Alderman Costello,
Mike, are you here?
Here.
Alderman Johnson,
Here.
Alderman Riley.
Here.
Alderman Sansone.
Here.
Alderman Ungerbach.
Here.
Alderman Wondling.
Here,
Okay. Consent agenda. Anything on the consent agenda? Would like to remove or got a motion to,
Move to approve the consent
got
agenda.
a motion to approve the consent
Second.
agenda?
second,
Second? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Here none, the consent agenda is approved. Okay, open forum. Kim, is there anybody to speak in open forum?
Laura Gettemeyer,
Get Meyer. Good. I got new batteries for it. Didn't die. So it doesn't die.
Hello. Hi, Laura Gittemeyer, 6-year court. Regarding the Stump Road project, I wanted to address the offer made to long-term Darting Prairie resident, the Pruitts, who have resided in the city since 1977. Their home is situated along Stump Road on a 3.5-acre lot. The Pruitts were offered $13,000 for 20 feet of their frontage of her front yard along Stump Road, plus $3,000 for their extremely large mature trees, which appear to be maybe 50 feet high with calipers diameter of tree of over 2 feet. They were offered $1,000 for each of their 3 mature trees. Having just paid $750 for a tree that had a caliper of 5 inches, it is painfully obvious that this is a very low ball offer. The city will say that they're not part of the process of negotiating with residents, so they are not part of this undervaluing of the Pruitt's trees and land. However, recall that the Stump Road project initially started out as replacing the existing 2-lane road and adding 1 sidewalk. Then the board started to work on the funding and design of the road project. The mayor advised residents that you have to initially ask for more funding and money because you can always ask for less funding later. But we can't ask for more funding later in the process. So with that mindset, the board expanded the Stump Road project from a 2-lane road to a 2-lane road with a middle turn lane or 3 lanes plus 2 sidewalks on both sides all along Stump Road. The new road plan design has the unfortunate effect of causing several residents along Stump Road to be negatively impacted. For this expanded plan design, the cost of this road project was initially budgeted for $2.2 million, with funding on the project being provided by the county, paying $1.09 million or 48%, federal funding of $910,000 or 40%, and Darting Prairie paying $273,000. The city has been focusing on paying what they say is only 12% of the cost of the road project, which is almost $300,000. However, there was an article titled "Inflation Causing Road Projects in St. Charles to Double in Price," dated September 2022. In the article, it talks about the road projects in St. Charles to double in price. If the project costs do double from 2.2 million to 4.5 million, the city will have to pay way more than 12% of the project's cost. It is important to realize that federal funding is not available for any of the increased costs. Federal dollars for this project are capped at $910,000. In a phone call I had with the county, they indicated if the funds are available, they could pay up to half of the cost overages, but there are no guarantees that funding will be there. Therefore, with this fact pattern, Darting Prairie's cost would not be $273,000, but an additional $1 to $2 million. Stump Road is in Ward 1, but this isn't a Ward 1 only issue. Being fiscally responsible for city revenues and budgeting impacts all 3 wards. We don't need an over-improved road project for a 2,000-foot road. Why would the city ever spend more money than they needed to? Thank you.
Joel King.
Don't worry, I won't take my 3 minutes. First, I want to thank the 3 aldermen that came out to look at the property on Stump Road to see how it actually affects us. And to be honest, I think everyone up here needs to come out there. And the property that she really mentioned, the Pruitt property, the Pruitt south, or the property south of them, get out there, get your tape measures, and measure 25 feet from the existing road into their property. And think, gee, if I was living here, would I be happy that they're taking that much of my property and my trees? The money that they're giving them, I don't care. That whatever. I don't care if they give you $100 grand. These people have lived there for 40 some odd years, and now you're going to take that amount of their property. Then on the north side, you got the Howras, which are just on the other side of me. You got the Gittmeyers. Now this street and sidewalk is basically going to be in their backyard, and they both have pools. So the sidewalk is going to be there. They're going to look in. There's your pool. No privacy whatsoever. In the comprehensive plan, which most everybody, when they come out, will look at it, see how the roads are going to be improved. This stuff was not on the comprehensive plan. That's why some of us build where we did. I knew Bryan Road was going to be expanded because I checked it when I looked 30 years ago. I knew Page was coming because I looked 30 years ago. We knew this was coming. So you got to please back some of the citizens here, especially that's how come I'm saying. And then with the stuff on the northwest corner, Brian and Feisey, hopefully you guys will put yourself in their shoes and go, do I want to look at an apartment complex for the rest of my freaking life here after spending $1 million? The answer should be no, and refuse that kind of. It should not be there, period. Let's see. I think that's about all I got for now for this meeting.
Arnie Dinoff.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the Board of Aldermen. My name is A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate. And I go to a lot of county meetings, countywide, and a lot of political divisions. And what happened at the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting and some of the alderman meetings, I'm just flabbergasted, blasted, and at unease. At the last meetings, there was questions of decorum. Citizens felt they weren't being valued as first-class citizens, but rather second-class citizens, and it's very sad. Civility, respect. This Board of Aldermen, including the mayor and the leadership of the city of Darden Prairie, needs to hear each and every person out on every issue. These people took time out of their busy schedules that they could have been doing something else, and they came here because they care about the community and they care about the direction of Darden Prairie. Every citizen matters, every testimony is important, and every vote counts. That sure drives home because Joe Cronin, who was a county council member, did the same thing at a county council meeting, turned his back on residents in a primary in August. Now, abutting O'Fallon paid $136,000 in a comprehensive land use for a consultant. And the consultant says that Darden Prairie and O'Fallon, which abuts at Bryan and Feisey, is 70% residential and 30% commercial. Needs to be a more balance of 50-50 of economic development, the balance to offset tax burden on residents and offer services and economic opportunities. That corner was designed and was planned through a comprehensive plan as an economic tool to off base it and take the burden off the people behind me. Now, in this Maya Rose, unfortunately, the administration has gotten too cozy with them. Secret meeting, obviously, it came up right here that the public isn't involved in the design and the planning process. And I'll talk more about that through the conditional use permit and the zoning public hearing. It seems like Maya Rose wants me, money, and the taxpayers to pay their infrastructure while they make a profit on the city's dime. And I think that's very unfortunate. This is prime real estate that we're talking about. And I think the city needs to change its direction, change its strategy, hold its feet in the sand, draw a clear. We have very few opportunities left of parcels of land that can be used for economic opportunity to generate sales taxes, to pay for police services, to pay for roads and general government operations. So Mia Rose is kind of sneaky. I thought they were good people at first, and I thought they wanted to get involved with the water district and really change government here in St. Because the water district said that they need a meter for each apartment. But then they got sneaky because they got approval at the Prairie at Bryan Road and Missouri Highway N from you just last year. And 2 months later, within 2 months, they came before this board and asked for a $18 million tax abatement for personal and real estate property tax. I'm sure they're going to do the same exact thing, and I'll get into the particulars during the public hearing because I want to make sure it's a matter of public record. This needs to stop. This is prime real estate that has not been touched, has no problems on it, and it doesn't deserve tax abatement. It doesn't deserve citizen. And I guess my time's up, so I'll wait till the public hearing for the conditional use permit and the rezoning. Thank you.
Last speaker under open forum. I believe everyone else is under the public hearing.
Public hearing. Even though we're going to extend the public hearing, we'll open it for comments. Public hearing is going to be postponed till next meeting.
Well, I want
For the developer. For the developer.
Not postponed.
I want to make a motion.
Extending it. It's gonna open.
We're going to open it, but then we're going to make a motion to extend it because the developer is not here to present anything.
To be clear, it is still open from the last time. It never closed.
Okay,
We're
yeah.
going to
And
make
it will,
it be
it'll
open
continue
for-
to the next meeting.
Exactly.
So, yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you will. That's what we're doing. We're allowing you to make comments tonight. Okay, first one.
Bill Mickless,
It's on, I get, okay. Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. I had 12 questions and told me that I could answer any tonight. So I emailed them or texted them to my alderman. My question is, if I submit an email regarding my 12 questions, is the city going to publicize my being sick? I'm sorry. Okay. My question is, I am supposed to email the city or the alderman or whomever with my 12 questions. When the alderman or the board answers my questions, are you going to publicly put it on the Dardenne Prairie website, or is it just going to be an email between me and you? Because everybody here wants to know my question. Okay, thank you very much. I find it disconcerting that we get 3 minutes because I'm going to take a little long.
No,
Traffic study by the
you-
county. I'm sorry.
you will be held to 3 minutes. Start off.
Anybody want to say time to me? Okay,
Doesn't work that way.
okay. The county needs to do a traffic study for Fisey and Bryant, not the developer. That's number one. How many apartments are going to be in this development? How many? Is it 400? Is it 140, 200? I think it's 240. Is that right? Is that nobody knows?
Sir, this is not a question and answer time, okay? Present your.
When is question and answer time? When will that be? Because if we have to sit here like little kindergartners and not make our voice heard, I guess at election time, we have to have some severe thoughts about
Exactly.
changing the whole work. Because the arrogance of this board is incredible. Now, I still have more questions, and I want an answer publicly, not just to me. That he's going to give. Is that fair enough? No answer, right? Okay. How many apartments are in Garden Prairie now? Question. Did the developer put money in escrow for the future widening of FISE, which is going to happen? Happened to Brian, going to happen to FISE. There's an ordinance in a lot of other cities that require developers to wait a year before resubmitting a new plan when the planning and zoning and the aldermen turn one down. In Garden Prairie, we could turn it down. You could turn it down. They come back tomorrow morning with a new plan or the same. No ordinance. How do we pass an ordinance where we have a year to sit back and let somebody else take a look? Also, I mentioned the microphones. If you could just keep them like they are, that's fine. When you have your little get together up here, I don't know how many people could hear it, but I couldn't. And I'm sitting in the front row. I have hearing aids. But I couldn't hear it. So can we at least answer the question about publicly replying to my emails, or is this quiet? Nobody's going to have a word to say. Absolutely
I've got
amazing.
your questions.
Yes,
I'll make sure they're answered.
but I want an answer for
And I'm sure they'll be put on the website.
put onto the website. And also the last question or the last thing I have it to say is, why do we have an email blast for those that want to be involved to where we'll get notification of these changes? Or like somebody buys a property, they put the little bitty sign on it, a little bitty piece of paper, and then we post it in the Post Dispatch, which is a paper newspaper that nobody gets. So, okay, there's 2 or 3 people that get the Post Dispatch. Why can't we have an email blast once a month to where you could tell what happened at the meeting and questions were asked, answers that were given? That hard to do? I don't think so. Hey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you, Alderman and Mayor, for this opportunity to speak. I would like to urge the people that are here to not neglect coming to planning and zoning meetings. I was at the last planning and zoning meeting, and in that meeting, we were told what kind of development is currently zoned there. And I've said many times that I understand that that property is going to become commercial. Nothing I can do about that. Don't like it. That's fine. The city needs the taxes, etc. And the way in which it's currently zoned, by and large, the people that were at the zoning and planning meeting agreed with that. What was laid out? The mayor did not. He got in front of all of us, talked directly to the planning and zoning committee and said, we have to have these taxes. I do not agree with the way in which the current zoning is laid out. He does not like the fact that maybe a church goes in there. He asked us, do you think a church doesn't generate traffic? Basically, among all of us is that, yes, it does, 3 days a week. I think we can tolerate 3 days a week of traffic there. 7 days a week, 24/7 of a convenience store is not conducive to the property. Now, I understand that the developer is coming back with another idea. I appreciate the fact that finally the Board of Aldermen and the mayor are going to make it a public process. Should have been a public process from the beginning. If it was a public process, we wouldn't have to have a police officer here for the last 2 alderman meetings. I've been to other alderman meetings. Don't tell me that you always have a police officer here. You don't. Mayor, your sign was in my yard. I was advised at that time, why do you have John Gotway's sign in your yard? Well, he came by, he talked to us, seemed like a rational, decent person, was interested in fixing the roads. Understand that. Understand you need taxes to fix the road. But if this is the way we are dealt with, condescended to, yes, condescended to, sir, we are not going to have you around. And I'm sorry to say that, sir. And I appreciate all of your time. Thank you very much.
Leslie Morgan.
Good evening to the mayor and to the aldermen. I appreciate you offering us this time to express our concerns. Mayor initially said the developer is going to be revising his plans, and then at that point they will make a decision. But I don't think you understand. We don't want this development at all. I did not hear you say you would squash it, and that's what we want. We want this squashed. One of the reasons that we want it is going to impact the quality of life of the residents in that area. Right now, it's quiet. You can bet your bottom dollar the night activity is going to increase. They are going to have, we're going to be coming, instead of a suburban area, we're going to be an urban area with asphalt and concrete and people and strangers who are normally not in this area, plus the light and the noise and the traffic congestion. I know previously living in O'Fallon, to put a traffic light in is very expensive. And so widening the street, the traffic lights, plus you're going to have increased police protection. It's going to be costly. I would think that it needs to be weighed very wisely, because the taxes you're going to get, I think we're going to be offset by the expenses that you're going to have to pay for. Thank you very much.
Cheryl Bratton.
Can I make a quick request? Can you repeat your name whenever you come up to the mic? I'm trying to keep everything.
That was Leslie Morgan.
Leslie Morgan.
My name is Leslie Morgan.
My name is Cheryl Bratton. My husband and I live on Cruden Bay Court in Inverness subdivision. After last week's P&Z meeting, the mayor characterized a group of residents he spoke to as a bunch of NIMBYs, an acronym for not in my backyard. He said we're the types who only show up when city business directly affects them. Assuming other city officials are more grateful for the types interested in growing as Garden Prairie citizens, some clarifications. We're the types who know comprehensive plans, set the long-term vision of a community, and are adopted with significant public input. The city's Board of Aldermen passed a resolution in support of the city's 2020 comprehensive plan and complies with Missouri State Statute RSMO 89.340 by creating a link between a city's comprehensive plan and the zoning ordinance. We're the types who know how to read. On the surface, C3 zoning appears tolerable, but once amendments are requested and granted, convenience stores, gas stations, and car washes are permitted under its conditional uses. Even though the city's zoning ordinance, section 405.195, states C3 will be expected to closely follow the city's comprehensive plan, we're streetwise enough to know that once a developer gets his foot in the door, C3's conditional use list leaves room for it to be kicked wide open. The main goal of section 405.220B5 PUD purpose is to, quote, foster a more stable community by providing a variety and balance of housing types and living environments, end quote, which provides the perfect segue to RM, residential multifamily housing. Along with proper water and sewer support, Darden Prairie zoning ordinance, section 405.175, article A, purpose of the district states, the roads of multiple family dwellings must, quote, abut or be adjacent to property that was or is to be acquired for a federally funded interstate highway project. Courts have upheld the zoning definition of adjacent as being either immediately contiguous to or abutting a neighboring property. And of course, contiguous means sharing a common border. The Bow Plan doesn't have an adjacency to I-364, nor does Figure 8 of the Comprehensive Plan's appendix titled Major Street Plan indicate that any such federal road system will be at Bryan and Feisty. Therefore, we're the types who think your support of the Mia Rose C3 PUD RM proposal and rezoning request either tonight or in the future proves a blatant willingness to ignore the city's board-approved comprehensive plan and zoning ordinances in favor of a development inappropriate for the Pope site. This isn't just an Inverness thing. It's about 4 subdivisions, 1,293 households in Pinnacle Point, Inverness, Bainbridge, and Canvas Cove, which indeed have backyards, live near Bryan and Feisty, and are filled with residents who think the word nope describes us better than NIMBY. It stands for No on Prairie Encore. Keep the land strictly zone C2. Thank you.
Marcos Over. Marcos.
Good evening, Aldermen, Mayor, and fellow neighbors. I am Marcos Sover. My wife Barbara and I live at 634 Cruden Bay Court in Inverness Subdivision. We appreciate the responses from Alderman Wandling, Goslow, Sansone, and Johnson to our email dated on January 13th. For those of you who did not respond, we want to make sure that you have seen the pictures included in that email, and I would ask that you keep them in mind as I proceed. You should have copies in front of you. Picture 1 is a picture of the Prairie Villas under construction that adjoin the Wyndham Meadows subdivision. Picture 2 is a current view from the backyard of a home on Balcara Drive, adjacent to those Prairie Villas, and you can see the villa roof lines are in line with the roof lines of the single-family homes. Picture 3 is a view from the bobland from the adjacent Inverness Phase 3 Fisher lot. And picture number 4 is an overlay of the proposed Prairie Encore apartment building onto the Fisher lot seen on picture 3. It's exactly the same trees. The municipal code and the comprehensive plan should work simultaneously to reflect both the needs and the interests of the residents of the city. Page 2 of that comprehensive plan says that, I quote, Dardenne Prairie's goals include provisions that protect the property values of existing homes, end quote. McKelvey, Fisher, and Lombardo have invested deeply in this community. It's part of that city's vision to render many of the Fisher Homes lots virtually unsellable. Please refer again to picture 4. Everyone can see the Prairie Encore proposal is reliant on a weak tree line, which provides no visual, light, or sound barrier 6 months out of the year. Even with additional landscaping, nothing will cover an intrusive 4-story apartment building or block the lights and noise of 214 apartments, a gas station, and the rest of the proposed development. But one thing is for sure, the proposed Prairie Encore development certainly will affect the property values of homes in the surrounding neighborhoods. Page 50 of the comprehensive plan says other types of residential units can be built at greater densities than that of the adjoining single-family dependent developments, but the density of such development should not be so great as to impact the character of the adjacent area. The proposed Encore or Prairie Encore would greatly impact that and impact the adjacent area. Again, look at picture number 4. Additionally, on page 30 of the comprehensive plan, it addresses stormwater detention and the adverse effects due to changes made to the character of the land surface. Development introduced roofs of large areas of pavement, which substantially reduce the amount of rainfall, therefore soaking in the soil and the amount of runoff. As Inverness was developed, the city's vision was that a green space was so vital that builders were held to the high standard of the subdivision being just 20% water impervious. The surface of the original Mia Rose proposal is projected to be at a 70% water impervious. Everyone in attendance tonight understands that Dardenne Prairie needs revenue, and we understand the housing trends that were addressed in last month's meeting. We also understand housing trends come and go, but our neighborhoods and us are here to stay. Thank you.
David Miller.
Everyone on the board and the mayor, I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. I have sent a couple of emails to everyone present in front of me. Those that have responded, I appreciate that. Those that have not, I'm here to speak to make sure that I'm heard. I am talking about transparency in government. From what others have said, I am not alone in that desire. I was at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting last week. The mayor says we need more revenue. Well, does that mean our financial well-being of this city is in trouble? If so, why? Can we see the books? Where's all the money going? Why do we need so much more revenue? We are all adults here. This needs to be shared with us. We need to know what's going on in our city. And right now, that does not appear to be the case. As I said, we are all adults here, so you can talk to us. You can show us why this plan is good for us. Don't tell us what is best for us. We need to listen to the comprehensive plan. That's a theme that everyone else has been mentioning and wondering why all of a sudden we need to stop following this plan. Why other recent growth in other areas, the Cordova, Courtyards of Barrett Haven, Phase 3 of Inverness was all approved, but those all followed the plan. Now all of a sudden we need to not follow the plan. That doesn't make sense. To be called NIMBYs or special interests by members of the board and those in front of us, that does not sit well, especially when some of those in front of us were very vocal when there were opportunities to build apartments in their neighborhoods. In my emails, I explained my personal history of transparency. I bought a home on Dardenne Woods Drive that backed up to the waterways. I knew what was back there. When I moved back there 16 years ago, it was an open field. Now it is full of apartments. I moved away, bought a house, built a house in Inverness because there weren't going to be any apartments there. Okay. Where I bought the first time, that was transparent. I was hoping I was going to be transparent with my build. Once again, within the same community that I know and love. I guess I will end this on old words of wisdom from Abraham Lincoln. We are looking for a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Colleen Strubart. Ladies and gentlemen, for your time this evening. As my time may take a little bit longer than 3 minutes, I'm going to cover an executive summary, what my points are. The needs of your constituents who elected you, what your constituents are missing, fiscal logic and responsibility of existing proposal, our issues, and how these play into the long-term success of Darden Prairie's growth. What the constituents need. As a previous gentleman said, transparent government. Without transparency and information, people will fill in the blanks on their own. This leads to distrust and creates divide. When there is inaction by leaders, people will act. Here's what your constituents are missing. We're missing information about a critical piece of land where it will impact several neighborhoods. Lack of signage. The mayor asserted they were only required to post 350 feet from the site in question. The sign posted was not easily visible to those impacted and on Bryan Road side, and the sign was small. To add further insult, only doing what is required of oneself does not mean it is the right thing to do. I would not have my job if I only did my minimum. I need to do to be successful. An example of what was done well is that McKelvey posted several signs announcing the hearing of phase 3. Thank you to our neighbors, and I will not name them in the event that this could cause them issue, who spent their own money creating signs for the impacted neighborhoods in Darden Prairie. Lack of consideration about soliciting our input. Multiple shifts in timing. What and how this will be voted on created further distrust. Appropriate timing. Without information as to why the votes were being scheduled during the holidays leads constituents to believe there are suspect reasons. We are conditioned to believe that when decisions are made during the holidays at any level of government, there's reason on timing. Fiscal logic. Your constituents in general agree that we need commercial business in the corner of Feisy and Bryan, and I'll cite some statistics below. Our issues. Adding multifamily apartment housing to a busy corner where the demand does not appear to warrant another apartment building with a transient population. Statistically, per the website Statistica, Missouri overall only has 7% of the population living in apartments. The mayor shared with a small group of us Darden Prairie has a population of 14,000. Do the math. If we were to follow statistics, that means 980 people will live in apartments in Darden Prairie. But we have a capacity of more than double that with the new apartments under construction already built. What happens when you have excess unleased apartment dwellings? It often resorts into low-income Section 8 housing or lack of ongoing maintenance by management companies where there's no rental revenue, degrading a potential main intersection of the community. The mayor also shared that the apartments being built are for the age group that would be moving out of their parents' homes and moving into an apartment. Outside of the humor of those of us who have raised young adults, being close to their parents happens less often, and frankly, they would rather stay home than move a mile away. On a serious note, the population of Darden Prairie has only grown about 1,000 people since 2019. Yet the multifamily rental market has grown at a faster rate than the population. Per the city website, 45% of the population in the 40-year-old range is on average, followed next by the 20 to 40-year-old range, which is 30%. Wide gap and not granular enough to determine which of that group is closer to 20 or closer to 40. However, with a high percentage of homeownership, 96% in Darden Prairie, it would lead you to believe that those between 20 and 40 are also going to be 96% homeowners. Next, mutual respect. Please give us the respect of possessing the intelligence and ability to understand the impact of budgets and revenue and the importance of further development of Darden Prairie. And although shared in jest, last week the mayor asserted that perhaps Inverness we overpaid for our homes. Ideas that could replace apartments. Individually owned condos or townhomes that generate tax revenue in addition to the retail space. Solicitation of organizations that are growing. So we were told last week also in a smaller conversation with the mayor that we should go find those companies. I'd be happy to help, but I do have also a full-time job. Summary. These statistics show the roadmap to more apartments will not be sustainable over time using the statistics from 2019 forward and do not make sense financially for long-term growth. As the mayor stated, education and retail are the biggest contributors to the city. However, it would behoove the board to consider what the homeowners would want to patron who are the closest and most impacted by the new businesses. With all due respect to the developer who has been gracious enough to agree that he will meet with Inverness, another car wash and gas station will not continue to elevate the community that boasts the following on your website. Darden Prairie enjoys one of the lowest tax rates in St. Charles County, extremely low utility rates, and is home to 3 of the 4 top-rated schools in Missouri. The city also has the highest per capita income and highest median income in St. Charles County. You put in apartments, you're going to have to remove that from your website. In closing, as the mayor called us following the P&Z meeting, NIMBYs, not in your backyard people, we are also contributors to statistics you boast as a city. Our homes are probably on average the most expensive homes in Darden Prairie right now in Inverness, which raises your capita rates and will continue to attract people who are not only care about our homes, but the community we live in. Yes, this is an issue in our backyard today. We all bought homes expecting commercial and not additional multifamily rental housing, but you also have a group of invested in being part of a thriving community. Let's show one another respect and give your community the benefit of the doubt that we are intelligent beings with a greater best interest for the entire community. Thank you.
Rich Linderman.
My name is Rich. Actually, I live in Bainbridge, and I know it's going to be a foregone conclusion. There's going to be some sort of commercial development going in the corner of Bryan and Feisey, but we want to make sure whatever's going in there is reasonable and falls within the needs of the community. I don't think we necessarily need to rezone it to put another car wash, because there were 10 car washes within 3 miles of the place. We got like 5 different four apartment complexes going up within 3 miles of it, and there's like 5 existing. I think we might be looking at overcapacity of such, and looking at gas stations. There's like 12 of them within miles of the place. The mayor last week was kind of mentioned that the big thing is they want good roads, and I agree with good roads, but he's looking at raising tax revenue. Well, you've got options for resident, tax base. You can go with sales tax, which is one way you're looking at it, because I think people are paying the sales tax aren't necessarily voting against or for you guys. But maybe looking at, if you need revenue, we got a low tax base, maybe a very minimal in our. Oh no, okay, yeah, you have options where you could change the real estate tax to a minor degree in order to raise and have adequate funding for whatever your needs are. But retail space, when it's vacant, doesn't pay any sales tax. Look at right down here by Schnucks, there's like 3 or 4 or 5 stores that are vacant. Look down Bryan Road down in it's O'Fallon, which doesn't affect us, quote unquote, in terms of revenue. Half the strip malls halfway down toward the interstate are vacant. So I mean, you've got to be very careful what you build and buy in there. I really hope that whatever kind of traffic study they do is actually done by something better than they did when they tried to put the Bow property in originally, which had 2 guys and a stopwatch and a clicker who had no clue what the hell they were doing out there. That was before your time, Mayor. I know you're not guilty of that one, but they had no common sense what they were doing. So what if they're going to have a traffic study? We need it done by something reputable. Somebody who knows what the hell they're doing, how they're doing it. We need all the methodology that they're using, whether they're using mechanic, counting or whatever. But whatever, I hope you guys think, it's rare to see this many people I know in these type of meetings. And I think you are getting the message that we're not real thrilled with what's going on. Last week at the zoning meeting, which was kind of interesting, the zoning leader mentioned that initially that this proposal was put off to at least this week for the Boat property, and that if you had no other further business, feel free to leave. Well, a few people left, but some of us stayed. At the very end of the meeting, the mayor got the floor and started chastising and talking about our tax base and basically defending why we want to build. So Hello? Okay, yeah, this thing works great too. But it was just kind of ironic that we were told we could leave, but then you came out there and a proponent of actually doing something on that property. So take a look around here. If you enjoy your jobs, listen to us.
Very much again, Mayor and Board of Aldermen. My name is Arnie C. AC Dinoff, County Public Advocate. And the city is trying to get prime, desirable real estate. You don't need to do that. You don't need to just give up at the first person who comes up with a proposal. This is prime real estate with a prime population. You want to close a quick deal for some newfound friends that you found in the prairie at Missouri Highway N and Bryan Road, which you, this Board of Aldermen, approved less than 6 months ago, an $18 million freebie tax abatement over the next 15 years. These people behind me don't know about that. That's the true facts. And I asked them to make a sunshine request under Chapter 610 and ask for that information from the city clerk because it is a fact. From Maya Rose, there's been no compromise, no concessions, no movement, no give up until tonight. It's a me money maker, and the taxpayers pay for all my infrastructure, Mia Rose tells the city of Darden Prairie. I asked the Board of Aldermen to tell Mia Rose, no, thank you. Mia Rose wants the city to pay for their roads, millions of dollars, sewer infrastructure, water lines, electric lines, street lighting, water retention, detention, land clearing, gas lines, cable, common ground improvements, and monuments, including entrances to this new establishment. This is a very friendly operation and cozy relationship that Mia Rose, LLC, their hands being held by the city administrator going through this process. They get their apartment buildings, and then within 2 months, they're back before you for a freebie handout to the tune of, in this case, it'll be $25 to $75 million, and you can guarantee it. They'll ask for tax abatements, exemptions of real estate and personal property taxes for the next 20 years. Under Chapter 100 of the revised state statutes, and I ask every elected official and every resident to look up Chapter 100 of the Missouri revised state statutes. They want to have tax freedom for the next 20 years while they make record profits on rentals between $1,200 and $3,000 for apartments. They want to have 100% sales tax exemption. Taxpayers pay for a profitable developer apartment owner getting monthly rents. But when these people built their homes in Darden Prairie, you didn't give them a tax break for the next 20 years for their building materials, for their concrete driveway, for infrastructure improvements. Under Chapter 100 of the state law, the city will own the property, and this will be put on the St. Charles County deed. Mia Rose has a lease. The city is the guarantor. There's will be for $25 to $75 million of bonds to give them that 20-year tax abatement. It was done in the prairie. It was not done at the lakes of O'Fallon, at O'Fallon Road and Missouri Highway K, because O'Fallon City Council to stand up and say no tax abatement, no free ride. Have a backbone, members of the Board of Aldermen. Stand up and represent these people who vote in every election. Defeat this project. The Missouri Supreme Court just entered an order on December 20th of 2022 to reject a conditional use permit and zoning issue that was voted on by the Creve Coeur City Council against Quick Trip, cause number, and everybody can look it up, SC 99619. If you want a copy of it, I'll be more than happy to email it to you. That order says that the courts asserted the city council's right to deny a conditional use permit and a rezoning application by Quick Trip. But because big money talks, they took it all the way through the courts and they got spanked by the Missouri Supreme Court in December. I asked this Board of Aldermen to say no to the Encore. Have a backbone. Draw a firm line in the sand and say no more. No more special deals, no more special considerations. My other question before I leave, how many elected officials have gotten a campaign contribution from Mia Rose or the owner of Mia Rose or the owner of the barbecue place or Emo's Pizza? I think that should be a matter of public record. Thank you.
That was the last speaker.
Last one. Okay, real quick, Jeff, we're gonna pass around a pad. We're gonna ask people to put your name and email address down on there. If you want correspondence through city, on, especially about what the developments, what's going on here. So we will, any new developments that are made public, we will send them out to you. All right, let's move on. New business?
Mayor.
Wait a minute. Oh, okay, yeah.
Continue the public hearing.
Okay, I'm gonna entertain a motion to continue the public hearing. On our website, there is a page where you can put your name and email address in it and you know, request information. So. What do you mean people are not here tonight? I don't understand what you're asking.
How do
Yes.
people who aren't here get on the list?
Well, they,
Online forum on the city's website, residents who are not in attendance. Sign up to getting filled up the fire room.
they can do it, they can do it on the website. There's a link on the website for you to,
Yeah, the website.
the website. There's a link. Okay, entertain a. This is not, it's over. The public hearing is over. There's no more questions. Okay? Sir, please. Please. We're moving on. I entertain a motion to extend the public hearing. After the meeting, we can talk. After the meeting, we can talk.
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing.
Got a motion by Dave, second by Justin, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we're gonna continue the public hearing. Okay, new business. Got a motion to rebuild 2301 for the first time.
So move.
Dave,
Second.
Justin, second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. James, will you rebuild 2301?
Bill 2301, an ordinance of the city of Dayton, Prairie, Missouri, approving the amended PUD plan, final plan for the Prairie located.
Quiet, please. Please be quiet.
A lot of talking going on out there as well, though.
Everybody here's quiet. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Microphone's up there. Bill 2301, an ordinance of the city of Dayton, Prairie, Missouri, approving an amended PUD final plan for the Prairie located in the city of Dayton, Prairie, Missouri.
Any discussion or debate?
Move for second reading.
Got a motion for a second reading?
Second.
Justin seconds, all in favor? Any opposed? Hear none, we'll rebuild 2301 for the second time.
Bill 2301, an ordinance of the city of Dayton, Prairie, Missouri, approving an amended PUD final plan for the Prairie located in the city of Dayton, Prairie, Missouri.
Any discussion or debate?
I did want to clarify because some in the audience may get confused by the similar names. This is not for the Prairie Encore. This is for the Prairie at Bryant.
For the clarification.
And a motion for a roll call vote?
Second.
Justin, Mike, or who second?
Mark.
Mark? Okay, Kim, would you call the roll?
Alderman Underbach.
Aye.
Alderman Caslow.
Aye.
Alderman Wanling.
Aye.
Alderman Sandstone.
Aye.
Alderman Riley.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson. Ordinance 2230.
2230.
Yes.
Okay, I declare Bill 2301 as ordinance 2230.
Move to read Bill 2302 for the first time by title only.
Second.
Got a motion to read Bill 2302 for the first time, and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none. We'll read Bill 2302 for the first time. James, would you read Bill 2302?
Bill 2302, an ordinance of the city of Dayton Prairie, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute a memorandum of understanding between St. Charles County and the city of Dayton Prairie to use grant funding to design and construct safety improvements.
I do have a question about this, because as I was reading through it, I did see that it obligated us to maintenance after the improvements are completed. It looks like a project passed over to us for operations. But it didn't detail what the items of the project were and what was responsible in the agenda. And that ordinance is. Can we get more clarification of what we're?
But we don't have a project yet. This is a memo to.
Well, in the Wi-Fi is still acting up. If I remember correctly, at the bottom, it says that there's the project as outlined in Amendment A, and Amendment A didn't clarify what those things are, but it did commit us to maintaining and paying for that project or the output of that project long term.
So this is the same memorandum that all the cities in St. Charles counties are to participate in this program. So if we want to participate in this ongoing program between St. Charles County and for our purposes, Dayton Prairie, this is the they're taking the lead on it, but yes, we would be on the hook for maintenance.
What maintenance and what cost do we have? And is there a time that we can ask that question and then vote on it once we get the information back, or is there a urgency?
There's not. This is something that was just provided to us by the road board. I can get you that information if you'd like.
If that is the case, I would prefer to I can't even remember the right name, not table it, whatever the postpone. Thank you, sir. Postpone until the next meeting until we can get details of what we're signing up for.
I can get more details from the road board.
Got a motion to postpone?
I'll move.
Mike? Justin
Second.
seconds? Kim? Or all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none, we'll postpone Bill 2302, second reading till the next meeting. Okay, old business, Bill 2274 is
I move it.
recommended. Go ahead.
I move we postpone,
Postpone until the March 1st meeting?
but we'd have to postpone until our next meeting. It'll
Do we
have to
keep,
fall
or
every
can we
meeting.
just postpone till the March meeting, Jan? I mean,
till our,
that's,
no. Does it not postpone for every meeting, John?
No, it doesn't have to be. You can postpone it to a specific date. So
Okay.
if you want to do it till March, that's fine.
March 1st.
okay.
Second.
That's it. Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill 2274 is postponed till March 1st meeting. Staff communication, city attorney,
I have nothing, Mayor.
city engineer?
Yes, Mayor, I submitted my report. I just wanted to point out just a couple of progress issues, highlights. Westfield Woods subdivision has started about 40% complete with the slab replacement. We're waiting for a cure time on Lewis and Clark. The second half of Lewis and Clark, weather permitting, will be started as soon as we have a potential good forecast. Also, I wanted to point out that in February, I will have to do an update for the annual report with Stormwater MS4. And that's what I have.
Okay. City Administrator, James?
So just to give the board an update on the acquisitions for Stump Road, I know that issue was brought up earlier. I think we're up to 3 of the 11 right-of-ways of signed for. We did go out, I know some of you went out and met with some residents last week, I guess it was. Myself, the mayor, and the city engineer, and a project leader from HR Green went out on Monday, staked off, or rather spray painted off the right-of-ways and the takings that would be that are being proposed. We also looked at some options to potentially make some changes to maybe take at least one of those properties out from having to be acquired. We're also in the process of coordinating currently with our with the utilities in the area to see if there is some additional modifications that could be made to lessen the impact on residents along Stump Road. So we're working really hard on that right now, while we're also continuing the negotiations for the right of ways. Also wanted to let you know that I don't know if, I'm not sure when we'll put this RFP out. We do have a demonstration, I think it's in 2 weeks, for a new comprehensive software, both for our city's accounting, our recreation software, our complaints, public works and permitting software. But one really exciting part of this is something that I've been pushing to try to include is to make, because currently we have several different systems, but to have a comprehensive software package that not only talks to each other, but all coordinates with the general ledger, also includes a robust public engagement part. So it would include at least the one we're looking at currently. Once we go through this process, we'll come back to you about having an RFP for it and a budget amendment, because this wasn't originally conceived. But it would include an app potentially for residents to use, both to communicate with the city, also to push notifications out to. Also, for residents to be able to, in real time, make complaints, potholes, whatever, document that, send that in, route that directly to the applicable parts of government that would address it. And it would also be a communication tool to get back on those kind of back and forth issues, questions, concerns, to let people know in real time that they've been addressed. So that's going to be, I think, not on the next work session, but the work session after that is what we'll probably be looking for, a conversation on that. I think it's really important now more than ever, because as we continue to talk about transparency and engagement, making sure that we have multiple avenues for revenues. We appreciate the letter.
Where do I get that ringtone?
So, now more than ever, I think it's important that we explore multiple avenues for communication, both receiving information and pushing information out to our residents. And so I think it's very timely to look at that.
Will that include updating the website?
So it will, so the current product that we've been looking at will have plugins for the website. There is another conversation about an overall update of the website, but using this software will make the website more functional, because there will be plugins that you will be able to access on our website that shows information about our budget, the different funds, the current budget. As you go through the calendar year, seeing the current budget projections, where we've been, where we're at for each fund. So there's a lot of information that can be pushed right out of the system onto the website and be accessed by the residents, and also by a mobile app too. So it's very functional. It will increase the functionality of our current website. It won't make it look any prettier, but it'll increase the functionality of our current website. And that's all I have.
Okay, real quick. I sat through the meetings with this organization. I'm really excited about one system that does pretty much everything for the city. Also, I don't know, I think James mentioned they do have a downloadable app that everybody can download to engage in the city with that app. Yes? Yep.
Well, you paid for it.
Well, the app is free. We have to pay for the database.
Right.
So, okay, in closing, I'm gonna say I'm gonna make myself available for questions, comments, some clarification on some of the things that were said tonight. And a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait a minute. Alderman, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to thank every one of you for coming out and spending your time and emails. I believe I've answered all your emails. You send me, you take your concerns seriously. Appreciate everyone. And I too will be around, if you'd like to talk to me.
Maybe you just want to stay here?
Close
the meeting and we'll stay here.
No.
Oh, yeah, and anybody can if they want to.
We'll
Okay,
come
okay,
down.
now legally we can't.
Right,
Oh, yeah,
right.
that's right.
So
Three of us
we
have to
will
leave.
close the meeting and we will engage
Yeah.
the crowd.
Just one thing, though I don't respond to every single email, I promise you I do read every single one. And when I see 1, 2, or 3 aldermen, especially both of your aldermen have already responded, that's typically when I don't. I do read every single one. Sometimes it's at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Hey. Entertain a motion to adjourn or regular session here?
So move.
EJ,
Second.
second? Kim? Are all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned.